Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and go to next slide. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Shirley, and it's a pleasure to have each one of you join us today. We have an exciting and informative session ahead, and we are grateful for everyone attending today. So just a little about Cendien and us. We specialize in providing comprehensive services and solutions. We're Infor partners. We're also Microsoft partners, so it offers a holistic approach to your IT needs. We do implementations, integrations, development, training, and more. So if anyone is curious in all of our services, feel free to reach out. We can go ahead and go to the next one. And then today we're going to focus on Infor. So our webinar is regarding job requisition creation and approval. Our presenter today will be Randika, and he is a senior functional consultant here at Cendien. We've structured this session to ensure clarity and understanding, and we'll reserve time at the end for any questions. But should you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the Q&A. And the Q&A is above right next to the chat, so please use that, and then we will answer questions at the end. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand over to Randika.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. So let me give you a brief introduction about myself. I'm Randika Wiijesena, working as a senior consultant at Cendien. I'm specializing in Info HCM and IPA automation, and I have been working on Info for about 12 years now. And I have experience in both implementation and support projects. So let's move on to our agenda for today's session. So as all of you know, we will be discussing about an overview for job requisition creation and approval process. So this is the initial process of recruitment module in Info. So these are the main topics that we will be discussing today. Overview of job requisition. So we will go through a high-level overview to the recruitment and requisition process in Info. Create and approve job requisitions. So we will be looking at some of the basic configuration points that we need to do at the job requisition creation and approval process. Job postings. We will look into different job boards and how we can set up job boards and job posting options. And then we will have the demo. So we will walk you through on some of the configuration and then the process. And also we'll have a Q&A session as well, as Shirley mentioned. So please make sure to post your questions in the Q&A section so we can discuss them at the end of the presentation. Right, so let's move on to the agenda. The first item, the overview. So talent acquisition, or we call it TA module in Info, is the module that handles both internal and external recruitment process of an organization. So the process starts from identifying a vacant or a new position and creating a requisition. And it continues until a candidate is hired and onboarded. So in the process, there are a few available key features. So identifying, managing, and approving staffing requisitions. So based on the requirement of the organization, we can set up employee headcount budgets for different positions and organization levels. So once there is a vacancy in a position in a given organization level, a system will notify to the relevant managers on that vacant position. Also, managers can create requisitions manually as well. They don't have to wait until they get a notification if there's a new requirement, and if even the headcount budget is not set up, still managers and the recruiters can create requisitions. So basically, once the vacancy is identified, recruiter or the manager can raise the requisition and then request for approval So there is a separate approval flow and get it approved. So once the requisition is approved, recruiters can post the requisitions in job boards, internal and external, depending on the requirement. So where both internal employees as well as external candidates can apply. So when it comes to matching candidates, so once the jobs are posted, recruiters will receive applications from both external and internal candidates. Uh, so we can set the requisitions where based on some answers given to set of questions we have set up, where the applicants can screen out, applications can be screened out automatically. And also recruiters can go through the required competencies and skill sets of the position, and they can match it with the candidates competencies and skills and do a manual screen out as well. So once the candidates or the applicants applications go through from the screening process, the selected candidates can be taken through the interview process. So from the system itself, we can schedule interviews, send the interview invitations as well. And also the system has the functionality of conducting online questionnaires as part of the interview process. So once the interview process is done, the selected candidates, for the selected candidates, offer letters can be sent. Offer letters can be generated from the system based on a predefined template. And there is an internal approval that needs to be taken, and then offer letters can be sent. And also candidates can either accept or reject offer letters through their candidate portal itself. So once the candidates have accepted the offer, finally candidates can be onboarded. And the onboarding and transition management can also be handled through the system. So we can assign different onboarding and transition tasks to candidates as well as different departments like HR, IT, and also the status of the task can be tracked. So recruiter has the option to track what are the statuses of the onboarding tasks as well. So this is a very high level overview of the recruitment cycle in Info. So in today's session, actually, we are planning to discuss only the first two parts, basically creating a requisition and then posting it on the job boards. So the rest of the process, we will be planning a few more sessions like this to go through the rest of the process, because this is a very long process and we won't be able to cover everything in 1 hour's time. Right, so let's move on to the next one. So before basically going into the process, we would like to discuss some of the basic configuration that needs to be done in terms of the TA or the talent acquisition module. So configuration, when it comes to configuration, there are a few different types of configurations. So under primary setup, we have organization configuration, talent agreements, and recruiter setup. So under organization configuration, what we do is we can enable or disable different features related to applications, requisitions, approval templates, candidate experience as such. So normally organization configuration is a one-time setup. So it's done based on the requirement of the client and the organization. And most of the time, the changes will be made to this only if there is a change in the recruitment process of the organization. So normally, this will not day-to-day configuration unless there is a change to the recruitment process. Then we have talent agreements, so where we can configure different agreements that can be displayed for candidates when they are applying. So such as consent and acknowledgement agreements. So we will look for few of the agreements and few of the configurations that we have done in a bit. Then under primary setup, we have the recruiter setup. So this is where we define the recruiters of the organization. So from the HR team, whoever the employees who will be acting as recruiters need to set up here as recruiters. If not, they won't have access to job requisitions and they won't be able to conduct the required tasks related to the recruitment module. Then we have the code setup. So under code setup, we have configurable text. So this is where the text which will be displayed to candidates in the external portal when they are applying in different stages. So we can configure that. What needs to be shown as the header, the questions and all. So that is done under configurable text. And then we have attachment types. So we can define some of the attachment types like cover letter, offer letter, job description, things like that. So when a candidate is attaching a CV or even let's say cover letter, they can select these attachment types. And also even recruiters, if they want to attach anything related to the job in the job requisition, they can use this set of attachment types. So we can set this as valid for candidates and valid for requisitions. Then we have job boards and posting rules. So multiple job boards can be defined, and also based on the requirement, different posting rules also can be defined. So we'll look into this in the system in a bit when we are doing the demo. Then we have the self-identification and question setup. So here we can set up the self-identification details that we need to get as per the organization policies. And also we can set up questions to get more details from candidates. And also these questions can be set up as screen out questions. So the applications will be automatically screen out if the expected answer is not given by the candidates. So based on that, recruiters doesn't have to go through the applicants that they are not basically eligible for this position based on their answers given. Then we have a few reasons to be defined, so different set of reasons, starting with reasons to create a requisition, then a set of reasons to disposition candidates, and then do not hire reasons, as well as reject offer reasons, and so on. So there are a few reasons that can be configured, which can be used in the process. Yeah, let's move to the next. So then we have the template setup. So under template setup, we have the email templates, job posting templates, letter templates, and approval templates. So this is a email that we have created as a template. So you can see it gets the recruiter's first name and then the job details and positions. And also this is the approval template. So we can set approval templates to get the job requisitions approved, and also to get the hire approved, to get the offer approved. So for different approval levels, we can set the approval templates. So we'll look into detail in the demo. Then we have the workflow setup. under workflow setup, we have the hiring workflow. So hiring workflow setup is an important configuration that we need to do because it defines the sequence of tasks that needs to be carried out through the recruitment process. So what are the tasks should come after each activity can be defined under hiring workflow. Then we have the interview setup. So where we can define different interview types, interview statuses, results, and also interview scheduling configuration. Everything related to the interviews can be defined here. Sorry. So these are actually few configurations out of the total list of configurations that we have to do in TA module. So before moving on to the process, let's go to the system and see a few of these configurations and how we have configured this in our demo environment. Let me, yeah. Right. So I hope the system has loaded. Yeah, so I'm in the administrator space. So all the configuration that needs to be done as an administrator. So on the administrator, talent acquisition related configurations will be here mainly. So if I go inside, so you can see there are a lot of configurations. So we will look into few of the configurations, and also we won't be going into details. We'll just quickly show you the configurations that we have done. So as I said, under primary setup, we have the organization configuration. So this needs to be done for each organization. So we have two at the moment, organization 4,000 and 5,000. So we are using the 5,000. Yeah. So this is the org level configurations. So we can basically enable or disable different checkboxes based on the different options that we need to display or have. So related to application, candidate experience, usability improvements, requisitions, likewise. So offer letters, questions. So based on the organization requirement, we can enable or disable these features. Then we have candidate configuration. So here we have whether to create internal candidates automatically, so things like that. A link to create an email if the candidates doesn't have an email. Then in the offer review tab, we have some configuration related to the offer. So if a candidate is declining an offer, whether the reason is mandatory, and if offer is approving, whether the signature is needed or it's required, things like that. Then we have posting information, posting automation. So if we are canceling a requisition or if we are placing a requisition on hold, what needs to be done to the posting, whether to remove it. So we can set it up here. We have profile passing option as well to get profiles from a third party job board. And based on that, how to create candidate profiles based on the profile passing options. Then we have requisition defaults. So as I mentioned, the self-identification questions that we need to include in the requisition. Then the other set of questions, consent and acknowledgement text. So we can set these as requisition defaults. So when we create a requisition, we don't have to enter these every time. It will come by default from the system. So we can set these as default values for the requisition. So those are the main parts of the org configuration, and we have the alert So the target date for the requisition, so we have set it up as 30 days. So it will give you notification based on the aging. Yeah. Then moving on to talent agreements. So we have created two, acknowledgement and consent. So I'll quickly show one. So this is the acknowledgement agreement. So the consent type, the candidate has to enter the name of the signature, and this is the agreement text. Then we have recruiter setup. So we have set 3 employees as recruiters. So in the system, we can only these 3 employees as the recruiters, and they can handle the requisitions that will be assigned to them. Yeah, so that's the primary setup. So let's move on to code setup. So we have the configurable text setup where we can set candidate wizard text. So we can set up text like when a candidate is registering in the portal, what needs to be shown. So for an example, for the registration, so we can say, okay, please fill in the information below. So that's a text that we can change, and this will be displayed for the candidates. So likewise, once the registration is confirmed, saying thank you for registering. So likewise, we can set up different text which will be displayed for the candidates. Then we have attachment types. So as I mentioned earlier, so we have different types of attachments. And then we have different reasons, disposition reasons, then do not hire reasons, likewise decline offer reasons. So if a recruiter is dispositioning a candidate, or even if a candidate is declining an offer, they can select one of these reasons from here. Then we have the job board configuration. So we have defined 2 job boards, one for internal employees and the other one for external. So we can have multiple job boards, even multiple external job boards if you're using or linking it with a third party job site. So we can have a separate job board for that. And the main external job board can be linked with the organization's website. So from there, candidates can register and apply for the vacancies. So here also we can do some configuration. So we can add logos on the organization, the banners, the branding can be done. And we can say the view of the positions, whether it's a list view or a card view. Then the recent jobs, how it will categorize the recent jobs. So the jobs that will be posted within 10 days will be categorized as recent jobs. So likewise, and if you're using a third party career site, we can do the configuration here. Then the source and different costs can be configured. And then how to show whether if there are no openings, whether to show locations, job categories, and options to share the vacancies. So everything can be configured related to the job board from here. Then we have job posting rules. So basically, if there are any rules that we need in terms of job posting, so we can set it up here. Then we have alert configurations. Let's check on the questions. So under questions, as I mentioned, we can set up like screen out questions to get the details from candidates. So if I go to question set, so I have one question set for external candidates. So likewise, So we have 5 questions defined at the moment. So like, are you legally permitted to work in United States? Then will you now work in the future require the sponsorship? So likewise, and we can set these as screen out questions. So you can say the response type, whether it's a yes, no, or even if it's a text, long text, short text. So everything can be defined. Uh, and then here we have checked this. This is a screen out question, yes. And then we can set the preferred answer also. So if candidate's answer is not the preferred answer, if it's not matching here, the system will automatically screen out that application. So recruiters does not have to like go into details and see the answers that they have given. So based on that, system will automatically uh, screen out the application of that candidate. Yeah, then we have again few reasons. Let's check on few templates that we have uh, set up. So yeah. Yeah, so these are the email templates. So once the application received, so email to be sent to the candidate. So this will pick the candidate's email address. It will be copied to the alternate recruiter. So it will be sent from recruiter's email, and it's just a thank you email for applying. So likewise, for different tasks, we can set the email templates and configure them at which or when should be sent. We have the document templates and also job posting templates. So we have one job posting template. So this is when we post a job in the job codes. So we don't have to like enter the job description every time. So we can have the main details, and then the rest of the details we can extract from the position. So the location will be extracted from the job requisition. Then the summary of the job summary will be extracted from the position. Then the responsibilities, competencies, and skills will extract from the position. So based on the description we want to post, we can set this up. There are a few variables that we can use in order to extract the data from the system. Then we have note templates, a offer letter template. So we have one offer letter template as well. So if we go into the offer letter, yeah, so we have three basically paragraphs in this offer. So the header and the terms, the first part of the offer letter. Then if there are any additional terms, we have set that. And then finally the closing part. So likewise, we can have the offer letter, and we can have multiple offer letter templates as well. So based on, let's say, based on a different state, or even if you're in a different country, we can have different offer letter templates. Then let's quickly check on the approval template. So we have mainly 3 approval templates for hire, offer, and requisition. So if I go to a requisition approval template, so this is basically the workflow. So who will be approving a requisition? So this can be the role or the approver name. So here, if we use this template to get the requisition approved, it will go to hiring manager and then the direct supervisor of that position. So likewise, we can create different approval templates in order to use in the job requisition. Yeah, so these are the few of the main configurations that we need to do. So we have many more configurations. We just set up the workflows and everything. So we won't be going into details. So these are some of the basic configurations that we need to do in terms of running the recruitment process. So let's move on to the process. Quickly go to the PPT. Also, so do you have any questions? If you have any questions related to the configuration, what we went through here, or even if you have anything in your organization, just post it in the Q&A or even send us an email. So maybe we can go through them and get back to you with solution if you have any issues. Right, so let's move on to the next slide. Um, so once the configuration is done, so this is the overview of the process. So basically what happens is once a vacancy is identified, a direct manager, the hiring manager or a recruiter will create a requisition in the system. So there are two ways that we can use to create a requisition. We can create it from scratch, basically enter all the details and create the requisition, or we can copy from an existing requisition and then do the changes as per the requirement. So then once a requisition is created, there are a set of details that needs to be filled initially, like position details, compensation details, the approvers, the approval templates needs to be filled. So once this is done, we can send the requisition for approval. So based on the approval template, it will go in the workflow. And also, if you're a recruit admin, you have the option of approving the requisition manually as well. So once the requisition is approved, then recruiter can fill the job posting details, can add the questions for the requisition. And then finally, recruiter can add the job boards. So the postings, the requisitions can be posted. So as I said, today's session, we will be covering only up to this part, adding job boards. So let's move to the next slide. So job boards, as we discussed earlier, so organization can have multiple job boards, but mainly it will be two types, internal and external. So internal job board is actually for existing employees who's currently with the organization to apply for a vacancy. So they can view all the open vacancies or the requisitions through the Infor HCM system as well. Then we have the external job board. So as I mentioned, external job boards can be linked with the website of the organization and will allow the external candidates to apply for the open requisitions. And also it will allow us to post the requisitions in third-party job sites and get the applications from there as well. Also, I mentioned on job posting rules. So basically, job posting rules are defined and used to control job postings. So for an example, we say if the organization decides to give priority to an internal employee for an open position or vacancy, so we can set up a job posting rule to delay the job posting in the external job board. So let's say we have a time frame of, let's say, 3 or 4 days. So recruiters can post both job boards at once, but based on the job rule, job posting rule, it will delay the posting of the position in the external job board in 3 or 4 days. So the internal employees will have maybe 3 to 4 days to apply and so to get the priority. So likewise, again, based on the organization's requirement, we can set different job posting rules to control the job postings. So here you can see this is a screenshot of the internal job board, how an employee can see internally posted requisitions. You can see the employee space and the requisitions. Sorry. And this is the external job board. So this is the standard job board. So we haven't done any changes in the branding or anything. So the external candidate can log in and how they can see the jobs and how the applications that they have applied. Right, so we'll move on to the system and see how we can create a requisition, get it approved, and post in the job board. So let me go back to system again. Yeah, so I'll go to the recruiter space to create a requisition. So the recruiter space here. So if you go to the requisitions, so the recruiter can see all the requisition that has been assigned to them. So they can work on these based on the applications that they receive. So as I mentioned, when creating a requisition, we have two options: to create a requisition from scratch or create it from a copy. So we can use an existing requisition and copy the details from there. So I'll just show you the screen for create requisitions from scratch. So you can see the hiring workflow, the application process. So this is coming from the organizational configuration that we have set as default values. So we don't have to select these every time we create a requisition. And then we have the self so you can get the consent and acknowledgement coming. So creating it from scratch, we have to enter all these manually. So as we have a time limitation, I will copy an existing requisition and just will go through the details. So I'll go back to requisitions. So I will use the copy option, create requisition from copy. So then I get this screen where I can select the requisition that I need to copy the details. So I'll go with this project manager requisition, which has already been created previously. So I'll select that and then submit. So once I submitted it, so my new requisition number 13, the project manager. So all the details will be copied from the previous requisition that I used. So the position code, the description, everything will be copied. So the organization unit will come with the position, then the location, relationship to organization, what is the category, work type, things like that. So if you're using work schedule, standard hours, bargaining units, we can use these as well. So we have to enter the compensation details. So if step and grade schedules are defined, we can use that. Then the salary expectation level, so can set as maximum salary as 90,000. So we can change it. So we will change here to 85. Opening information. So the number of openings, so can be one or even multiple openings. Then we have to enter a reason for opening. So I'll go with the new position. Then a detailed reason. So we are hiring a project manager. So let's say for a new project. Travel required, if it's any relocation provided, we can mention those as well. So the field and remaining, this will be calculated with the process. So let's say if we have multiple openings and if out of that, if one opening is filled, This will be calculated accordingly. Then we have contacts. So who will be the direct manager of this position? So the project manager will be directly reporting to Chief Operating Officer. So who will be the hiring manager? Then the HR contact, recruiter. Then also we can have an alternate recruiter as well. In the absence of recruiter, alternate recruiter can work on this requisition. Then the approval templates that we have defined can be selected here. So this is the requisition approval offer and the hire approval. So the default values for the self-identification, the offer letter templates are here. So I'm okay with the initial details. So I'll just save this as a draft. Then here we have some of the responsibilities. This will be coming from the position. So if you have entered the responsibilities in the position, it will extract from there. So we have a set of detailed responsibilities, and if there are any responsibilities on the job, it will come from the job here. Then we can set the interview team. We can set this at a later stage as well. We can set alert notifications for each of these different tasks. We can set alerts, correspondence. So we can say based on the workflow correspondence, once we start this, it will show here. If there are any notes to be added, attachments will show here. And then here we can see the approvers. So the requisition, who are the approvers, and then for the offer, what are the roles? So we have done the approvers from the role. We can do it from the employee IDs as well. So let's say instead of the hiring manager, we can have like a person or the employee ID. So it will go to that person for the approval. Right. So once the initial details are done, we can submit for approval. So then it will go in this approval workflow, and then once it's approved, the status will be changed to pending. So you can see now the status is draft. Also, as a recruiter and I'm a recruiter admin, so recruiter has the manual approve function as well. So I will use the manual approve, because if we use the workflow, then I have to log from different users and approve, which will take time. So I'm going to use the manual approve function. So I'll just quickly approve this manually. So once it's approved, you can see the status changed from draft to pending. And also the description and posting tabs got enabled. So the description is basically the job description, which will be going in the job posting. So you can see the detailed responsibilities which were in the position has been extracted, the competencies and skills as well. So also based on this, but still we can do changes also. Recruiters can change anything. So let's say if we do want the salary range to be shown here, I can save. So likewise, so the initial one will be coming from the template, and recruiters can change based on the requirement. So the submit the CVs to the email of the recruiter. Right, then we go to postings. So two postings has already been created, again copied from the previous requisition, but the status shows as not posted. So I'll quickly show the external job board. So again, I can see the details here for the posting, the salary details, the currency, pay rate, the location, categories. So the details are there. So I can set a begin date. So I would say today, and the posting end date, let's say by 31st of August. I can save it. Yeah, so we'll check out the internal job code as well. So for the internal job code also, it's the same detail. So I'll just set the posting begin dates as today and the end date as it's the 31st and save. Right. So I have my posting details, job codes, everything is set up. So before posting, I need to change the status of this requisition to open. So in order to do that, I can just go here, select open. Yeah, so the status is open now. So still the posting is not posted. So now I can post these in both the job boards. So I can just go here and select post. Can see to select this as well and then post. So you can see now the status is shown as posting live in both the job boards. Right. So we have created the requisition, got it approved, and then we have posted. So we will see how this posted job is shown in the job boards. So first, let's look at the internal job board. So I'll go to a different tab. This is the employee space. And the internal postings are shown here, the opportunities here as well. So if you click on the opportunities, so you can see all the posted jobs internally. Think of it, say this here. So likewise, yeah, so you can see the job postings. And if you have saved anything, let's say if you save this, you can see it in the same job as well. Yeah, so you can apply from here. So if we let's look at the external job board. So I have the link already open. So this is the standard job board. So we haven't done any branding or we haven't used any logos or anything. So let's refresh this. So initially we have only 3. So let's refresh. Yeah, so we have the project management one posted today as well. So we can search jobs. Then in order to apply, we had to register and sign in. So I already have an account. So let me sign in using that. Sign in. Yeah. So this is my account and I have some applications that I have already applied. Then I can see the jobs here. So let's see the project manager job that we just posted. Yeah, so we have the job summary, the details that we have entered, the salary range is here. And also we have the option of showing the location in the map based on the job location. So if I want to apply, I can click on apply or also can save for the to apply in future. Yeah, so that is what we are planning to cover in today's session, only up to job posting. So in future sessions, we will be planning to cover the rest of the process, like how to apply the screening part and then the rest of the recruitment process. Yeah, so if you have any questions, I think we can take questions now. Um,
Okay. Thank you,
do we have?
Randika.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, if you guys have any questions, we do have that Q&A button up top, so feel free to drop in your questions. But we do have a couple, Randika. The first one is,
Mhm.
while defining the approvers, is it possible to define both the role and employee ID?
No, so it has to be either employee ID or the role. We can't use both the options. So even in the template, we can go with either the employee role or employee ID. It's not allowing to use the both options.
And then the next one is it possible to maintain multiple approver workflows?
Yes, it's possible. So in our case, we only had one workflow for each of the approvals. But yes, we can have multiple workflows because most of the organizations, they have multiple workflows based on different departments, different locations. So yes, we can have multiple workflows for the same basically approval action.
Awesome. And then we have, can recruiters change the job posting description generated from the template?
Yes, they can. So I think as I showed you in the position description, whatever the posting that is coming from the template, we can always change as a recruiter before we post it on the job boards. So that's possible. Yes, sure.
Okay. And that concludes all of our questions. So if anyone has any, feel free to drop them in now or follow up via email. But I guess we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope the session was insightful and beneficial, and we appreciate everyone joining us. Again, if there's any unanswered questions or any questions that you have regarding our services, then please feel free to reach out. We support both Infor and Microsoft. So either reach out to us either through this QR code here or an email at support@cendien.com. Your engagement and feedback are important to us, and I will follow up with the PowerPoint and recording. So if anyone has any questions from there, feel free to reach out to me directly through email as well. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.